Hey guys, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to Wake Up Wednesdays. So, wake up. These Wake Up Wednesdays are an opportunity for us to lift our heads up midweek and make sure that we are tracking towards our plan, that we check our GSD list, which is an outcome driven list, and we're making sure that we're making progress towards those outcomes. Now, if you're like me and the week sometimes gets away from you, that's okay. People are calling you, people are pinging you, you're double and triple booked, you have queries stacked up, you have messages and texts, and naturally the week can get away from you. So these Wake Up Wednesdays are an opportunity for us to pick our heads up, to reinvigorate one another, and get back on track. So wake up, everyone. It is 4th of July weekend coming up. It's 4th of July tomorrow. So happy 4th to everyone. Happy Independence and celebrating everyone around the world that fights for what they believe in. I want to talk to you guys today about an article that I posted in the group chat entitled Call to Action Mid-Year Planning, How to Set Up an Agenda for Success. So first off, welcome to the middle of the year. Congratulations, you made it. Give yourself a pat on the back. You deserve it. 6 months out of the year have been completed, and you have another 6 months left to get even more done. So I want to bring you four key strategies, and we're going to talk about each one. The first one is reflect on the first half, evaluate the accomplishments, look at your key performance indicators, and celebrate accomplishments. The second is revisit and refine goals, objectives, strategic planning, and develop action plans and tracking mechanisms moving forward. The third is enhance communication and collaboration, engage stakeholders, and set up feedback loops. And the fourth is focus on continuous improvement and promote a culture of learning. So I want to talk to you about those four things to do for your mid-year. And once again, congratulations, you're halfway through the year, you made it. So let's talk about the first one. Reflect on the first half, evaluate performance with KPIs or OKRs, objectives and key results, and celebrate accomplishments. So how do you do this? Why do you do this? Start off with the accomplishments because that is the most fun part. If you don't have an accomplishments list, if you don't have project management software like some type of Atlassian or Jira, if you don't keep track of this stuff inside of like a Microsoft SharePoint or a project or an Excel or something, the easiest way is to just start writing down the accomplishments. If you are working with global teams like I do, after you write down your accomplishments, you sit down with the team, you have them do the same thing, you do it as a group, you show them your accomplishments first so that it's not redundant, and you set the tone for everyone else. You lead by example. Once you have everyone's accomplishments, so whether you're working in a small team of 5 or a large organization of 50,000 and you're working with your different leads that represent different teams, you boil down and you distill all of the accomplishments. If you had a delivery schedule where you release new features or functions for your product once a quarter, once a month, once every couple of weeks, you can refer to that schedule. But even if you don't have a piece of sophisticated software or if you don't have AI that can automatically do this for you, just take a pen and paper, guys, and write this stuff down. Sit down with your team, sit down with your leads, have them write it down, and then boil it and distill it down and celebrate these accomplishments. Say, guys, we're going to have an off-site where we leave the building, we leave the company campus. It could be something as simple as we're going to go out for breakfast on Tuesday, and I'm going to treat everybody to a cup of coffee, and we're just going to sit down for 15 minutes and we're going to talk through these four things. It could be as sophisticated as renting out a place for 3 days and having a very structured agenda where you fly people in and out and you have virtual meetings. You can do it as simple or as complex as it needs to be based on your organization, on what you're rolling out, but it's very important that you do it. So once again, that is celebrating the accomplishments and reflecting on the first half and looking at those KPIs, those OKRs. So key performance indicators or outcomes and key results, right? The next thing is to refine and revisit those goals and adjust them with a tracking mechanism in place. So whatever your goal was to hit at the end of the year, at the end of 3 years, how are you tracking towards that goal? What have you completed for each quarter, per each month, per each sprint? If sprint's something you do, or how are you breaking your work down? How are you tracking towards these outcomes, these key performance indicators? So you already have your accomplishments done in step one. Step two is looking at the goals for the rest of the year, for the rest of the next 18 months, 36 months, saying how are we tracking towards them and do we need to adjust? Did we maybe overshoot these goals or undershoot these goals? Do we have all of the right resources in place? And what's the tracking that mechanism that can show smart, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound, actual results that we can measure against? Okay, so that's number two, very important. The next is engage and communicate with key stakeholders and set up feedback loops. So you celebrated your accomplishments, you socialized your accomplishments, you have set up your goals, your KPIs, your outcomes, and a tracking mechanism in place to support those goals. And now you're going to make sure that you have the communication in place with those key stakeholders. Maybe that's a stakeholder matrix, maybe the feedback loop is a monthly or a quarterly business review. Maybe that's different types of surveys that you have with your customers, your clients, your stakeholders. Maybe you actually work with them in person to get their feedback. Maybe you call them on the phone, but it's making sure that you communicate to them. These are all of the things that we've delivered. I just want to remind you all of the value we've added for the first 6 months of the year. And these are the things we're tracking towards the next 6 months, and get feedback from them, share with them that tracking mechanism, make it open and transparent and easy for them to follow along. The more difficult it is for stakeholders to know what's happening, the more they're going to feel the need to pull it from you. The more you open and you make it collaborative and transparent with them, the more that they're going to feel an environment that they're willing to trust you and they'll go with the flow instead of giving you a hard time about things, because they see you're being very open and honest with the progress and they see the ways that you measure and track against this. So that's the third one. And the fourth one is focus on continuous improvement and promote a culture of learning. In a perfect world, we have a perfect team that already has all of the skills we need, and our stakeholders have perfect communication and collaboration skills, and we deliver the project, we roll out the products, the new features and functions, and everything is great, and we roll out to the next one. But as you guys know, that's not reality. Reality is we need to constantly improve, we need to constantly grow, we need to constantly develop new skill sets so that we can bring more of us to the project, so that we can enhance our customer experience, so that we can look at what the competition is doing. We can celebrate how amazing the competition is, and we can look at our product and say, these are really the things that differentiate us versus the competition. These are all the new things we're rolling out. And in order to do that, we need new skills. In order to get new skills, we need to continuously improve and promote a learning culture. So maybe one of the things you do inside of your resource plan or your resources plan, which goes across your labor and your non-labor, so to speak. So your people plan versus your infrastructure, your software cost plan, all the different costs. Maybe one of the things you have is a breakdown of how much percentage of time do you think that your people in your organization can or should be spending on learning? Do you have a learning mechanism, a learning tool in-house in your business, or do you have them go outside to do that? What does that cost? How much time does that take? What does that look like? What are the, as you hear people use these terms, skills of the future? What are the skills of the future people need? So we think about things, the relevant experience would be something like prompt engineering, to coin a phrase. When we talk about generative AI, how the future is moving towards more prompt engineering and knowing how to work with those to have better outcomes, to automate more things, to enhance us, to augment us, to make us all better. So these are four very important things. Once again, reflect on the first half and celebrate the accomplishments. Revisit goals, adjust the outcomes to make sure you're tracking towards the second half of the year. Develop a tracking mechanism and action plans that are transparent for your stakeholders. Enhance and collaborate communication with those stakeholders, making sure that the feedback loops are in place, whether those are meetings, whether those are surveys, that they have a way to interact, see the progress, see the features, the functions, demos, and then continuous improvement, actually figuring out how much time and what's the mechanism in which your organization is going to learn. How are they going to learn? All right, guys. So as always, it's my absolute pleasure to have these discussions with you. And I hope that you take this opportunity to celebrate your mid-year planning, your mid-year journey, and be reinvigorated to execute for the next half of the year. And once again, welcome to Wake Up Wednesday. So wake up, and I hope everyone has a great holiday and a happy 4th of July. Thanks, and let's talk again soon. If you have any questions, as always, please feel free to reach out to me. Give me a call. I'd love to help you. All right. See you later. Bye-bye.